Today we will be taking a look at yet another wave of WWE releases. A story with Big E, the latest on Becky Lynch, and more. Let's start things off with the WWE releases. It's barely been a few weeks since the last wave of shocking releases, but there's already more releases once again labeling as budget cuts. John Morrison, Top Dollar, Ashante Adonis, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Tegan Knox, Drake Maverick, Shane Thorne, and Jackson Riker were all released late Thursday evening. So let's break down the standout stories here. Starting off with the biggest shock of the releases, the entirety of Hit Row. Why were they the most surprising names on this list? Well, they're the most surprising because of how WWE promoted them. Heavily advertised their main roster call-up, and misled us, the audience, to believe that they were actually going to play a big role in this new era of SmackDown. So naturally, when we see all these teasers, the hype videos, how they purposely included Hit Row into the WWE draft for them to come to SmackDown, fans bought in and were invested because it honestly seemed like WWE had plans for them. Why else would they get called up so suddenly and heavily promoted, right? Well, Hit Row didn't even last a month on the main roster. B-Fab, a core member and true centerpiece of the group, was released a few weeks ago, and we discussed that might be a devastating blow to Hit Row and signs of more bad things to come, and unfortunately, that was true, with the remaining 3 members not even lasting 2 weeks after B-Fab's release. After B-Fab's release, a lot of fans were writing Hit Row off, but other reports and rumors claimed otherwise. They talked about how there was plans for Top Dollar to be a breakout single star, and that Ashante Adonis and Isaiah Swerve Scott would make noise in a tag team division, creating an impactful trio on SmackDown. And who knows? With the right writing and direction, Hit Row vs. the Bloodline could have been a nice trio versus trio matchup to see down the line. But obviously, none of that happened. Fox analyst and out-of-character podcast host Ryan Satin was also devastated by the releases and shared some great thoughts on his topic on Twitter. He had this to say, quote, "I do not understand the whole process behind dedicating considerable amounts of TV time to get people hyped on an act, then immediately releasing them once people are interested, a la Aleister Black and now Hit Row," end quote. And everything he said right there couldn't be more true. It's not like these releases are quietly happening backstage amongst inactive talent. That may be true in some cases, but not all. The real bizarre, head-spinning releases happens when WWE introduces us to a new act. Really hammers it to the audience for a few weeks. More and more fans really start getting interested in said act, but then WWE releases the superstar with the new act that they've been heavily promoting on their television programs. Go back to what Ryan said. What is the thought process? If you're going to release a superstar, why spend so much time selling the act to your audience as if they're going to play a big role on WWE television when you know you're just going to release them? Why waste your own time? Why waste your audience's time? It's a lose-lose every which way you look at it. Same thing with Aleister Black from last spring. Fans were already worried about Aleister being on the cutting block, but then it was reported that Aleister was filming new content for a WWE return, and fans figured, well, okay, he's safe for now, and they're going to have to give him another shot. We did get 5 weeks of Aleister Black promos and hype videos, big production videos with a nice set, great animations to tell the tales of the Dark Father story. It just really appeared that WWE was fully invested in this new version of Aleister Black. He actually, physically, makes his return during the main event of SmackDown to attack Big E. We're about to hear from him and see his new character for the first time. And he literally gets released days after this actual return. Just mind-blowing stuff that leaves you confused and just throwing your arms up. Why show us the 5 weeks of build-up of this story and his return if you're gonna just release him? The way they constantly do that and continue to do that just feels almost insulting to the audience, as if they're saying, yeah, wipe your memory off that. It never happened. Moving on. And that's not right. It's not right because now it's starting to become a trend, and your fans and even talent themselves may start picking up on this. In the WWE pyramid, you're supposed to work your way to the main roster. That's supposed to be your dreamland, your endgame goal. But in reality, the main roster may be your worst nightmare as an NXT talent. Imagine being a great NXT talent with a strong character and great sense of direction. If you get called up to the main roster, you can most likely be stripped of both of those things and be released from the company within a month. And now, on the flip side, it also negatively affects your fans. Now you're showing new teasers of whatever NXT superstar that's getting called up and how amazing they're going to be on the main roster with all of their coming soon video packages. But now, some members of your audience probably learned their lesson by now, and they're not going to get invested or care about this superstar this time around because they know, hey, there's a chance they're not even going to be here in a few weeks. So now it's going to be harder than ever to really sell a new call-up to your audience because they know not to get invested anymore in these new superstars. But we'll see what continues to happen here with this trend. WWE Champion Big E is on top of the world right now as WWE World Heavyweight Champion and will face off against Roman Reigns at Survivor Series. But things weren't always smooth for Big E. He recently appeared on the Jim and Sam show and had this to say about how WWE was receiving complaints in regards to some of the things he was doing. Quote, "People are allowing me to do this, so I just kept doing stuff, and people enjoy it or didn't yell at me, so I was like, let's keep going. I was told there were a couple of times where the company got some emails. I don't know if it's like FCC, something where people complained and wanted me off TV because the gyrations were too much. Me, Elvis. There's no real difference there." End quote. So believe it or not, looks like the complaints were actually sent into WWE because some people didn't like his body gestures, movements, and dancing Big E would do. They didn't enjoy it to the point that they were even calling for him to be removed from TV. Thankfully, it doesn't appear like it was a FCC or any higher up complaints like that, so Big E was allowed to continue to be himself, and now he sits on top of WWE as world champion. When it comes to this year's Survivor Series, it sort of feels like a two-match card because there were only two matches that were properly built up. These matches being Becky Lynch vs. Charlotte and Roman vs. Big E. These were the only two matches on the Survivor Series card that had a proper story to them. Roman has been taking out Big E's fellow New Day members and even sending Jimmy and Jay to go deliver a message and beat him down. So there's lots of story there for that match. Then, what WWE did with Becky and Charlotte was great as well. They took all these reports and narratives of Becky and Charlotte no longer being close friends and turned it into the driving force of the story. They got Becky and Charlotte talking about each other on TV. They're taking shots at each other on Twitter, shots at each other during interviews, and even other WWE superstars are hyping up the match by saying that they don't really like each other. Of course, it's all for the story of the match, and it did its job. Becky vs. Charlotte has fans' interest, not because of brand supremacy bragging rights. It had their interest because of this narrative that they really didn't like each other. It's a real shame that Survivor Series only had two matches with a storyline. Imagine how hyped up everyone would be for the entire card if there was story from top to bottom. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.